We turn to the Hall of Famer David Aldridge. DA, the big buzz around the Bay Area the last couple of days, the potential for Steve Kerr to return to the bench tomorrow night.
Yes, Jared, and I think everybody just needs to slow their jets a little bit. Look, he'll either coach or he won't, okay? So he was here at practice today doing some things with the team. This is a day-by-day, literally hour-by-hour feel for him. If he wakes up Sunday morning and feels good, then yeah, there's a chance he could coach, but he may not. This is a situation that's gone back and forth with him in terms of his physical health for several weeks now. He does feel better than he did a few weeks ago, and he is getting closer, but nobody in this organization is going to push Steve Kerr back onto the floor before he is completely ready to handle all of the aspects of coaching, including dealing with us and dealing with these lights that you see, which is a problem. So it's something that we're all going to keep an eye on. Mike Brown obviously is very capable of coaching this team. He's done it throughout the playoffs, and they haven't lost a game yet in the playoffs, so it's not like this is a crisis yet. Now, if they lose a game, will it be a crisis? Yeah, potentially. That happens when you lose a game in the finals, but right now they're 13-0 in the playoffs, and everything's looking good.
Yeah, DA, certainly. Thanks for that report. More from David Aldridge as well as Kristen Ledlow here in a couple of moments. Back with Isaiah Thomas and Dennis Scott. Jared Greenberg here inside the Warriors practice facility. Big concert tonight at Oracle has displaced us here for the night, but we'll be back in the arena tomorrow. You got tickets yet?
No, not yet.
Well, guys, it has been an unbelievable. Mike Brown's been perfect so far. 13-0. You can't ask for anything better. But what do you think the coaching staff is trying to improve upon or trying to get to these guys, as DA said, to make sure they don't have that letdown and they don't lose a game because they just feel really good about themselves?
Well, the thing about both these coaching staffs, when you talk about Cleveland and Golden State, they both believe that they can improve on the last game's performance. I mean, Golden State only had 4 turnovers. Okay, Cleveland had 20. Golden State is thinking that they can force more turnovers. I'm not sure if they can. However, Cleveland's coming in saying we can force more turnovers too. Golden State played almost a perfect offensive game. And when you look at what they're trying to do, as we heard Curry and we heard, Durant say, they want to continue to take what the defense gives them. They're playing, random basketball. There's not a lot of play sets or calling. So they're really trusting in each other in terms of what they can do, what they can't do in terms of read and react. And thus far it's working, with Durant opening up, Curry opening up at the three-point line. They only had 2 players in double figures.
Right.
However, everyone felt a part of the action.
Let's get to the Durant and Curry factor, because there was so much, whether they bought into it or not, there was pressure from 30,000 feet, us media type, right, trying to create storylines. Durant coming over from OKC, trying to validate that, trying to get even with LeBron in the finals matchups in terms of back to 2012. And then Curry not playing up to his MVP expectations last year in the finals.
Well, I think after talking to both of those guys, they knew once Durant made that decision, they wanted to make him feel comfortable. So that's why early in the season, we were always wondering what was wrong with Kerr. Curry proved to us he's a true point guard, Isaiah, and said, you know what? I have shot makers around me. Let me show the rest of the world I can be a true point guard. Durant goes down. Then Curry says, well, let me remind y'all why I was a unanimous MVP. I can still go get 40 a night. Now we're in the playoffs. We're saying free-spirited basketball, player movement, ball movement. But now on the weak side of the floor, that's not Harrison Barnes. That's Kevin Durant now catching free, open, wide-open shots. And we talked about Klay Thompson struggling. Well, he can struggle right now because that's Kevin Durant on the weak side of the floor. I do agree with you, Isaiah. You're not going to beat Cleveland with just 2 guys, but I think Klay Thompson will continue to make some shots. Sean Livingston only 1 of 4. Guys like that, even JaVale McGee's 5 minutes were huge.
It felt like he played 20 minutes.
Very
exactly.
active. Very active.
Huge.
Very
so that's
active.
why I'm saying Klay can have a night off when you know 5 or 6 or 7 guys are going to come in and be impactful on the offensive end.
That's the scary part. And we'll get into Klay Thompson's struggles, but what he's meant to this team on the other side of the ball defensively. Isaiah, let's go back to your coaching days here. Do you think Mike Brown, Steve Kerr and company are trying to get into the heads of Ty Lue and the Cavs coaching staff to try and figure out what adjustments they're making with picking up the three-point line or picking up the man and making sure you don't get those direct shots at the rim that Golden State was getting?
Well, what Golden State is deadly at is in transition. And what Cleveland must do is control the tempo of the game. They can't have turnovers. And when you look at what happened in the game the other day, you see early shots, they get out into transition, And normally you're saying stop the basketball, but when you got Steph Curry running on the wing, he's such a dynamic shooter, probably the best that we've ever seen in all game. You have to decide, do we give up the 2 or we give up the 3? Now, Cleveland the other day chose to give up the 2 several times because Curry is that great of a shooter. And when you know that you got, 2 flamethrowers running those lanes in terms of Curry and Thompson, you're going to see a lot of dunks going down the middle. Now, what they didn't have last year, they didn't have a guy like Durant who's such an explosive pusher with the basketball. So he can push the basketball. He can also pull up from the 3 himself. He can also take it to the basket. That got the crowd going. How Cleveland will try to combat all that will be to take care of the basketball, not turn it over, and not take early shots in the shot clock.
Yeah, we'll get into the Cavs side of things a little later on as they will check into the practice facility in about an hour from now. We'll hear from LeBron and Ty Lue and Kyrie and everybody else as